Hello everyone, back with another video, this time on pound dollar. So basically this was a trade that I was looking at yesterday, and I did share it in the community too, for the buys, but I could not find any entries on it. It just kept going, continued to go. Uh, if you've been through the dollar analysis that was done on Sunday, the video is available on YouTube. If you've been through that analysis, I personally was of the idea that dollar could pick up some strength based on all the data that we're looking at, because basically it's this seller from up there to all the way down here, and then the first attempt of pullbacks cannot go lower low, and after that the buyers get introduced into the markets. It starts to turn around, and then the price should continue to go lower. But in the same video, we also established the fact that if the price breaks through this area, right, all of this mess, if the price breaks through this to the buy side, it's going to turn into buys. And that is exactly what happened. I'll walk you through all of this, and it's going to be a brief video because I personally could not find an entry on this. So when I shared it in the community, the prices were hereabouts. Yeah. So this is where the prices were, and as you can clearly see, um, if you take a look at a higher time frame, let's say 60, this buy that happened with a news on dollar on Tuesday, day before yesterday. This happened with the news on dollar and right around New York Open too, and the prices pushed through all of this resistance, right? Sell, sell, please sell, cannot sell, and the prices push through. If you go on the lower time frame, you can clearly see a very nice demand that was formed on pound dollar, where the price, when it comes into these areas, it tries to sell, it cannot sell, and the seller basically gets ripped up. Again, there's a different terminology that I like to use for my personal use regarding this phenomena, but because this is a public channel, so I'm not going to use those words. So it basically gets ripped a new one, right? The seller, when he tries to sell from up in this area, let me just get rid of all of these brushes. And yeah, so as the price comes up into these areas, the seller tries to sell and he gets ripped a new one. As he gets ripped a new one, the buyer basically buys from down here. Uh, Look at the timestamp down there. It's right around New York Stock Exchange open and goes all the way up to there. And after that, just starts to pull back. So it's pulling back. And in this pullback, this is the seller that begins the pullback, right? Goes for a lower low, lower high. Now this seller sells again, comes all the way down to here. Price pulls back. This seller sells, takes the price down to here, and then the buyer comes back. Now, if you've been through my videos that I have been posting on YouTube, uh, I emphasized on this thing a lot, maybe more than is needed at times, that for my bigger buyer to buy and make money, which is in this case is this buyer, right? For my bigger buyer to buy and make money, sellers need to be introduced into the market so that he can buy from those sellers. If you take a look at this area right here, let me get rid of these brushes again and walk you through this. Uh, Okay, there we go. If you take a look at this area, right, it's just pulling back in one go, right? All of this is one pullback, and looking at all of this, no one in the markets who has a bit of an understanding of how the markets work is looking to sell this. Everyone is looking to buy it. As this buyer comes back, it holds, right? Goes all the way back up to there, and then it should continue to go higher because it's coming off of a demand zone support, uh, a very strong push on the left side for the buyers, and blah blah blah, all of that stuff, right? So for everyone getting in on the buys here, what happens to those buys? They get stopped out. Stop losses, even if the stop losses are below this, because this is the buyer that should go for higher high. Even if the stop losses are below this, the stop losses get taken out. And now the bigger player gets interested, because this piece right here is where the sellers get introduced into the markets. Sellers are introduced into the markets, but if you have a bit of an understanding of price action, you can clearly see that there's a shift in the markets. Now, again, multiple terminologies for the same thing, and the logic is that this buyer is now interested after the stop losses of retails have been taken out. They've turned into the sell side because, see, it's a new seller, right? They've turned to the sell side. They're starting to sell now because they want that money made back, the money that they lost to the markets while buying, and the emotions are riling up, and you're in the revenge mode and you want to make that money and blah blah blah. So again, break of structure, change of character, whatever you want to call it, the logic is that this buyer is now back because he went through the seller that took the prices lower to take the stop losses. It's as simple as that. You don't need to give it fancy names. You don't need to confuse yourself by, calling it whatever names you've given it. There's no point. If it's easy for you to give them names, okay, by all means, do it. But what's important to understand is the logic behind what is happening. Why do we call it a break of structure? Right? That is the basic logic of this buyer that ripped this seller a new one is now interested again. So it did, you know, hover around a little bit, but I wanted the price to come lower into hereabouts again one more time and then go higher. Did not happen. The price just continued to go higher, and did not really give me an entry. Basically, it's the same thing that happened in euro dollar too. Let's take a quick look at euro dollar too. Now, as we discussed that for the prices to continue to go higher, we need to go through this. On this chart, the price doesn't really make a higher high for you to be really interested. But if you place pound dollar and euro dollar side by side, you'd be able to see that around this area where this buyer bought on Tuesday, around this area, the price action is more or less the same, right? Let me just get rid of these brushes again so that it's a little more clear. Okay, so again, exactly the same thing that happened on pound dollar, maybe a little different, but take a look at this. It's this buyer that goes all the way up to there. Price starts to pull back. In the process of this pulling back, you make a lower high and lower low, then pull back, lower high, lower low, pull back, lower high, no lower low, in fact a higher low. So people are getting in on the buy side, right? So for whoever has the understanding of break of structure and change of character or whatever, again, I hate these names that are given to all of this stuff, but it is each to their own, and I don't mind whatever anyone else is doing. I have no concerns about that. I personally want to understand and make you guys understand the stuff based on logic, not just based on the names that is given to them. Anyway, so as it changes character and puts in a higher low, so people are getting in on the buy side, and what happens to that buy? When they try to buy here, because if I show you this area zoomed in, they try to buy in here, right? Someone is buying this little bit of hammer or doji or buy a bullish candle, whatever you want to call it. Someone buys, and then that buy fails, taking out the stop losses. The exact same thing happens after those stop losses. The concept is after the sellers are introduced to this buyer, where someone wants to sell him and he is going to buy off of them. So as the sellers get introduced into the markets, that buyer gets interested again, hovers around for a little bit. I wanted the prices to test this area again, never happened, and the prices just continued to go higher. Right? Just massive, massive buys. Anyway, uh, just wanted to give you a recap on how the dollar analysis has changed its course, and it showed, it showed you that it's not going to go for a sell. Euro dollar, pound dollar, or any other dollar is not going to buy. The price action is basically showing you, because if this is Monday, right? This is Monday, starting here all the way to here. This is Monday. Now on Monday, as we discussed on Sunday, that the prices, can turn around from hereabouts. But if you take a look at the price action on Monday, the buyer buys very strong, and then the seller is unable to do anything. It's just, chopping around all the way down to there and buying again. So what I'm trying to say is that the price action showed you ahead of time that the analysis that was done was wrong. Showed me too. That is why I did not take a trade on euro dollar or pound dollar for the sell side, because the price action was so clearly telling me that the price is going to go higher, right? Anyway, um, there is another video that is going to come out today later, that is on the CAD interest rate. Took this trade yesterday. I'll make a separate video on this. Let's just keep this video contained to pound dollar and euro dollar. That was basically pound dollar was shared with the community and did not give us an entry. Stay tuned for more, guys. Cheers.